So that's what you and I can know, and that's how you and I can be. And thankfully, we have these moments when we can come into the sanctuary, when we can come into a place that is filled with that open receptivity to the grace of life and the light of life and the love of life. Thankfully, we can come here. We need that until we get it fully ourselves. And so here we can grasp that consciousness and know it to be so. And the reason why we come is so that we're sustained and maintained when we're out there in the outer world, where it's not so easy at times to know and feel what we know and feel here. When we are surrounded by like minds, and we are in that energy that is sustaining energy. And the more that we can be in these moments, the more supportive we are of our souls getting it, really, and keeping it. And the whole idea is keeping what we feel in a moment, or know in a moment, or express in a moment. And the thing about moments are, life is just one eternal moment. It's an everlasting moment. It's an everlasting now. In eternal life, there's no past, there's no future. Eternal life is an ever expanding moment. That's all it is. And these are concepts that are cosmic, and so the mind is challenged, the human mind is challenged to understand them sufficiently to keep us anchored in that awareness in a way that keeps us poised in the light and in the front of everything and anything that's going on around us. It's easy for us to slip back into ego, very easy for us to slip back into ego, which is identifying with our human nature and being our human nature, which tends to be frightened and tends to be scared and tends to doubt and tends to be unsure and uncertain. And it's neither good nor bad, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And we do tend, as you all know, to over-identify with our humanity and forget that we're more than our humanity. And we certainly over-identify with our bodies. If there's something wrong with the body, there's something wrong with me. Or if there's something wrong with me, there'll be something wrong with my body, or some such nonsense like that. And yet the body is simply a wonderful companion that's given to us so that we can operate on this plane as a human being. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's an intelligent thing. And when we work in unison with it, it's awesome the way it can show up for us. When we're praising it and blessing it and congratulating it, it works wonders for us. However, when we berate it and, speak to it in a negative way, we're not helping it one bit to be the great and glorious, wondrous, intelligent thing that it is. Because as all of the metaphysicians say, we have a psychosomatic relationship, and the body's cells listen in to every thought we think and every feeling we feel, and they are changed by what they hear and what is felt. So when you and I are thinking negatively and you and I are feeling negatively, the little cells are going, ooh, they're shrinking. They're going, oh, ouch. But when you and I are thinking wonderful thoughts and feeling good feelings, our cells are all fluffed up and really jazzed and feeling great and feeling energized and feeling, the fullness of life and its radiance. Now you and I know that, and we've heard it until we're blue in the face. We've heard it. And yet, how much of it do we take to heart and apply? But we have to be gentle with ourselves as we do this. We have to be tender with ourselves and careful with ourselves and kind with ourselves and compassionate with ourselves. Because we have been, programmed to think otherwise and programmed to feel otherwise. And we've been impressed as a very small child with a whole lot of negativity, a whole lot of no, 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 no's, and don't, and what makes you think, and what makes you think, and what makes you think, and who do you think you are, and who do you think you are, and who do you think you are. Know your place, know your place. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get ahead of yourself. And many, many more, and many, many more of these that we have long since forgotten, but they haven't forgotten us. They're still going on within the cellular memory of our bodies. And our bodies have a cellular memory. And so while your mind can change itself quickly, the body's cellular memory is not as quick to change, because this is a much more dense thing than is your mind. It takes a bit longer for the cellular memory of the body to release and let go of. So consequently, body work is very good. Massaging, and if you want to really get deep, the Rolfing stuff, which would kill you, but anyway, it certainly gets to the depth and core of things. But that any of these kinds of things can support you and assist you. They're very good. They're very good. And the massaging of the body is another way of taking care of the body. It's kind of like anointing the body, because they're rubbing oil all over you. Some of us are more comfortable with that than others are. But whatever that is, it's good, or the massaging of your shoulders or your neck or your head, whatever. That's good stuff. That's as holy now as being in here with each other. You're taking care of this part of yourself. Because all parts of ourselves have to be taken care of. See, it's bread and butter stuff. Spirituality is bread and butter, first and foremostly. It's bread and butter. It's all about taking care of the basics, the basic fundamental needs that each one of us has. And we have 4 sets of needs. We have physical needs, we have spiritual needs, we have emotional needs, and we have mental needs. Now those are the 4 pillars upon which your body and your soul and your heart and your mind are based. Those are the foundation pillars of your life and the kind of life that you live. And all of them are to be regarded as equally important, and all of them are to be taken care of. You are the steward over these 4 areas of your life, and all of these areas must be fed. And they are fed. But the question is, what are you feeding them? What do you feed your body? What do you feed your mind? What do you feed your soul? What do you feed your emotion? What are you feeding them? We could be here all day answering those kinds of questions. But they're good questions for each one of us to ask ourselves. Because we're a unit, We're a unit. And we can't settle for, I'm just good in this area. We can't just settle for that. We need to take care of all the areas that we have the potential not just to be good in, but excel in. Excel in. But that's your job and my job, ours to do and take on, ours to keep. Oh my gosh, I have so many things in this thing that I hardly know where to find a page anymore. There's so many markers in it. But I opened this one this morning, and it's from the handbook, and it's the general summary section, and it's page 391. And my jaw falls in awe when I read this, and I have it starred and lined and God knows what not. And Ernest Holmes reminds us here, he says, the Eternal has placed himself at the center of man's being in order that man may function individually, The divine has placed himself at the center of the human being in order that each one of us can function individually. Means we don't need anything or anyone else to function. We function individually because at the center core of our being is the divine. The discovery of this, he says, the greatest truth about man is the greatest discovery of the ages. To discover that at the center core of your being resides the Holy of Holies, the Almighty, that which is complete, whole, and absolute, and that it's there for you to draw from, and that its power is yours to use for good in the universe, for the good of yourself and the good of all else besides. Now, if you and I, who have heard this, believed this deeply, we would come to know it. And once we would come to know it, that would be it. We'd ne'er have a care in the world after that. Then it wouldn't matter what was going on. It wouldn't trouble us. Because we would be in smiling repose all the time, regardless of what was going on around us. And everything would have to dissipate itself in its presence when we know it. And all judgments would cease. All condemnations would cease. All comparisons, all contrastings would cease. All accusations would cease. All blaming would cease. And we would know that nothing is what it appears to be. Nothing is what it appears to be. It's like the great Asian saint. And one of his chief disciples came in and was very disturbed and distressed. And he said, I don't understand. How could you possibly have contracted this dread disease, this deadly disease? You who are so pure, so integrated with the divine, how could you possibly have contracted this deadly disease? And the great guru laughed. He said, what disease? This is not my disease. And with that he sat up and he was perfectly healthy and well. No sign of any disease within him. He said, this is your disease. It's the world's disease. I've just taken it upon myself to ease up the world in its disease. And they had a very cordial chat and so on and so forth. And when the disciple left, back came the disease. You see, great beings at that level can choose to do those kinds of things. They can carry your load for you. As you and I will carry the load for a friend sometimes, in a different way. We will take the burden off their shoulders and carry it for them for a while, so they can have a bit of a rest, or be ready to let it go altogether. So if you and I could learn one thing today, is that nothing is ever as it appears to be. And nothing is ever what people tell you it is. It isn't. And even if your closest, dearest friend comes to tell you, oh, let me tell you about so-and-so, you got to know this. This is what I know. It's not what it appears to be. There's always more. There's the other side of that. There's the other side of that. The appearance is the front side. But when you go back of the appearance, there could be great, glorious light and holiness and wonder and awe. And any challenge that visits you and me has a gift in it. And it's not because my consciousness must have been down in the gutter to have accumulated such a thing, an experience, or totally oblivious and conscious and fast asleep. Because I have heard wonderful, holy people say, I don't know what's wrong with her consciousness to have brought that into her life. What's the matter with him to have manifested that? We don't get it when we're still thinking in those terms. Some of the greatest of saints have had terrible, terrible physical challenges. And as Ernest Holmes says, some of us wear our mistakes on our faces, like his glasses, when he was challenged about having to wear glasses. He said to the man that challenged him, he said, "Sir, I wear my mistake on my nose. Where do you wear yours?" So I need glasses. So what? Thank God for glasses. God in glass form. We have this weird idea that when you catch consciousness, you're perfect in every way. Well, there's no such thing as human perfection. Have you noticed that? There is divine perfection, but there is no such thing as human perfection. And it doesn't matter the vessel. It really does not matter the vessel. The elixir in the vessel, regardless of what the vessel is, will always be pristine. You can drink an amazing elixir, out of a plastic cup or a golden chalice. The vessel doesn't matter. It's the soulfulness within the vessel that counts. So I'm saying to us all, love your body, praise your body, bless your body, affirm your body, congratulate your body. It's the magnificent instrument that carries you around. Otherwise we'd be all sliming each other and spilling and splashing out all over the place, or whatever it would look like. Wouldn't be pleasant, I don't think. So when you're going through the day, and when I'm going through the day, and heavy thoughts and heavy clouds gather and want to envelop us, shake it up, baby. Shake them away. Come back to center. No, this is just an appearance, an apparition. It's not real. It's an illusion. And it's not one that's going to grasp you and hold you in its vice-like fist that makes you feel that you're it, that I am the cloud, I am the gloom, I am the heaviness, I am the darkness. Not a bit of it. You just send it off now. Let it keep going. Let it keep flying away. Say hi to it. By all means, acknowledge it. Hi, I know you're there. Thank you for visiting. Bye-bye now. On your way. I didn't invite you. You can't come in. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. You remember that song? And that's what you and I have to do. Because if you don't, you're going to get gloomy, and when you get gloomy, you lose your sense of humor. Now, one of your biggest assets is your sense of humor, your ability to laugh at everything and anything regarding your life. And as the scriptures say, laughter is the best medicine. And it truly is. Do not leave this plane filled up with unsmiled smiles and unreleased chuckles of laughter. And laugh for no reason. Practice how to laugh for no reason. If you're not used to laughing or good at laughing, start laughing for no good reason at all. You'll soon laugh at the idea that you're laughing for no good reason at all. It's funny. Because if one gift we were all given is the gift of hilarity, because we're all hilarious, really. I'm sure that those extraterrestrials, when they really are a bit overworked and feel underpaid, like many of us, they turn on Channel Earth, the greatest comedy of all, just to see what shenanigans we're up to now, and to see what we think is real and what we take for real. There's a deep, deep, deep power, awesome, beyond atomic, within each and every one of us. There is a vastness. There is a huge sense of that which is pristine and sacred and holy and wholesome within each and every one of us. It's your job and my job to find it within ourselves and then find it in everybody else too. And not to be satisfied until we start relating only to that within ourselves and within everybody else too. And not settle for less. It was not given to you and to me to go around feeling that we're all the time lacking something, something's missing, something's not in place yet. It's like you and I come in here and we're given a do-it-yourself kit. But it takes some of us longer to put the pieces together in the right form and shape. We may have a piece missing, we may have an extra piece. We may have a piece sticking out when it should be sticking in, or whatever. And as long as it's not conformed to the divine design, we're going to be uncomfortable in some way or another. And maybe it takes a whole lifetime for some of us to put the pieces together in the correct way. Or maybe we'll have to have another shot at that later on. But we come fully equipped with all our bits and pieces. But it is a do-it-yourself thing. That's why we're all individualized expression of spirit, so that we're all individuals and we have the individual capacity to take care of whatever it is we need to take care of, whatever we're here to do. On page 362, Ernest Holmes says, an evolved soul is always a worshipper of God. Now, we don't usually use the word worship a lot anymore. And yet, we worship things. We worship money, we worship power, we worship beauty, we worship whatever we worship. Ice cream, whatever it is. Statue to chocolate or something, I don't know. But we do. It's in our nature to worship, to worship. So, all souls is always worshiping God. I adore you, God. Adoration, too, is something we don't usually use the word I adore. I can remember the first time somebody said to me, I adore you. And I'm going, that's blasphemy. You can only adore God. God is all you can adore. And then later in the spiritual community, I've heard the expression a lot used to individual, I adore you. Do you know how much I adore you? And still the little Catholic nun here goes, ouch! Blasphemy. You'll burn in hell for that. God and God alone. Like you're pointing up, God and God alone is to be worshipped and adored. And yet if God is all there is and there is only God. I adore the good in you is what people are saying. I worship the good in you is what people are saying. And then you think to yourself, yes, yeah, but catch me on another time and another day and then see. But I love that. An evolved soul is always a worshiper of God. That means we're always in praise of God. We're always in praise. We're always lauding. We're always applauding. We're always singing the praises of God. Now, does that mean that we're singing hymns in some kind of a holy temple or place, on special occasions? It used to mean that. No, it doesn't mean that anymore. I can sing your praises and be singing and worshiping God. That's what it means. And until you and I get that, we're not getting it. Oh, well, I could maybe that would work for him over there because, God, I've never known such a good person as that person. But you don't tell me that my neighbor, who gets on my last nerve, in so many ways you don't even want to hear it or know it. But if you were living beside that neighbor, you would be thinking and feeling the very same way that I am thinking and feeling. And if you think for 1 minute that I'm going to be singing that fellow's praises or her praises, you've another think coming. Yes, I mean the neighbor. And there's no use singing anybody else's praises until you can sing the praises of the one that gets on your very last nerve. Then, by Jove, you got it. It's the Dickens, isn't it? So, he goes on to say, the soul worships God in everything, for God is everything. God not only is in everything, but God is more than everything God is in. Wow. We could live on this forever and not move off of this awareness until we got it and go no further. I'll read it again. An evolved soul is always a worshiper of God. That soul worships God in everything, for God is in everything. God not only is in everything, but God is more than everything God is in. God is more than you, because God is in you. And because God is in you, God is more than you. So you are more than you think you are. I could put any one of you up there and light candles and put flowers all around you like we used to in the Catholic tradition for the 40 hours adoration and bow down before you. And it would be as much a worshipping of the God that is as I worship anywhere on this plane or in any circumstance. I could do that. And I would know that that's not blasphemy. It's only blasphemy if I only do that for one person. So, I mean, in fun, I often say, set an altar up to yourself. But you could. And you could, by doing that, honor the good in yourself, the more in yourself, and honor your infinite possibility. Honor your infinite possibility and your unfolding possibility. That's a lot for us to take in, actually. It's a lot for us to take in. That was a big lesson this morning for us all. But we must have been ready for it, or we wouldn't be in this room. We must be equal to it now, or we wouldn't have been listening to it. We must be ready for that moreness of ourselves. So how often do you go out the door in the morning feeling good about yourself, feeling confident in yourself, feeling that you're here to make the difference, and you're going out now to do exactly that, to make the difference? Think about it. I'm going to have to stop here for a minute because I see that Reverend Catherine has come in, and very quickly she will just announce what she needs to announce, and then we'll have our final conclusion. Time for our little ritual, our ritual of giving and receiving and the blessing therein. And so we're going to take our gifts between our amazing, amazing hands, and we'll bless those gifts, and we'll say, divine love consecrates my gift, goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is.